Lucky you. You are listening to Superfluous with Alina and Jeanette. In the next hour, these scrappy gals will be sharing only the best non-essential information with you. Through two vaguely related stories, they will fill your head with facts you never knew you wanted, but deep down you know you really needed. Only the good stuff, just the froth. So get ready to be just a little bit smarter about something that probably won't do you much good. Superfluous.
Well, hello.
Hey.
Guess what?
What?
We are in the same place for the first time ever recording our podcast. I know so many of you don't believe this, but Alina and I have never recorded our podcast in person.
Ever.
We tried. Yeah. Did we?
Because we went to a wedding, Ben's wedding, and we were in the same place and we were going to, but all the electricity went out in the entire region.
Yep.
So we weren't able to, and there were fires.
And there was a wedding. We had other shit to do, kind of.
Yeah. I had a hotel room with no water, no anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
They still charged me full price for it too, which was amazing.
Well, if you want, I'll pursue a refund for you. It's only been a couple of years.
Yeah.
I'll take care of that.
Seems reasonable. Seems totally reasonable.
But today we are both in Los Angeles, California.
We're in Hollywood. Motherfucking Hollywood.
I've come here to pursue my acting career. And Alina's helping me out. I figure if I don't get it done in a weekend, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. You're not. It's not destined to be. If you can't get it achieved in 2 days, then
no, I'm just gonna go home. I already have the flight booked. I don't think it's gonna work out.
Tuck your tail between your legs and walk away.
Just slink back up to Portland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what are we gonna do today? We're just gonna talk today.
I know. Some of you might think that's boring, and some people might think it's exciting, and this is for the people that'll find it exciting.
Yeah.
And for the people that find it boring, this is episode 45. You have so many other episodes you can listen to.
Yeah, go back and catch up.
Yeah,
because guess what this also is?
What?
It's our 2-year anniversary of recording our podcast.
Guacamole.
I know.
What the holy heck?
I know.
What the mother frickin' how? Yeah. How is it possible?
Know. I mean, you didn't even believe me until I was proving it to you on Facebook because Facebook told us. Yeah.
It's almost exactly to the day.
Almost exactly to the day, which is so cool that we ended up being in the same spot.
We released our first 5 episodes. And now we're superstars. Now
we're superstars.
Wherever we go.
I know. People just stop us like, I recognize your voice from your podcast.
I heard you ladies talking and I know who you are.
It was weird. We went out to brunch and it was just nonstop people coming up to us and asking for autographs. It was insane.
Tell them where we went to brunch.
Give us a break. We went to brunch at this really fancy place in Beverly Hills.
Yeah, because we're posh people. We're up and coming.
Yeah. We ate things with truffles in it.
We went to the Dior store.
We did. We went to the Dior store. We walked quickly through.
I have artisanal chocolates in my purse.
You do have artisanal chocolates in your purse. Yeah. We walked down Rodeo Drive. We took selfies of selfies. Alina was trying to teach me how to not make stupid faces when a camera is in front of me.
Well, you just have one of those, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. We all have a relationship with the camera. We all have our issues with the camera. Some people just take flawless selfies, right?
Yeah.
That's not me either. But my issue is that I do maybe 27 micro expressions when we're focusing the camera. And it could be, you could pick the one that's good. You could pick the one that's weird. I can't keep a single face on for a picture. Now yours is different.
Me, I just make the stupidest, ugliest face I can. Automatically,
you look like
it
you just
happens.
got out of a concentration camp and someone's been beating you, and you're like, have this look like, I was caught by the camera. I'm like, you don't look like that in normal life. Like you look great right now. You look gorgeous, a vibrant person. The second the camera turns towards you, you're like,
I hate it so much. I hate getting my picture
unless
taken.
it's
like
a joke picture.
Immensely. Joke
pictures you thrive in.
I do. If I can make a stupid face, that's like on purpose.
Yeah.
If I can be like, I made that stupid face on purpose, not like that's just what my face looks like when a camera comes out.
No, you look like you were just captured. Like
No, that's because that's how I feel. I feel like you're trying to take my soul.
A vampire coven and turned on the lights really quickly, and you're like, I'm like, how are you making this face? We're just we're at brunch.
Yeah. It's either that or I just close my eyes. I have an extreme case of photo narcolepsy.
That's my go-to is closing my eyes.
Yeah.
I probably have, I'd say at least a third of the pictures in my life with my eyes at like half mast or some kind of like variation in between where like one's slightly open and one's a little less open.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It's a good look. I know.
Yeah. Although I think
I do appreciate the fact that because you live in LA, you can teach me how to do selfies correctly. Like you're putting in a good effort. That's
Well, I'm not the best selfie taker, but when I'm faced with someone that is even less able to take selfies, I feel like I'm a rock star. I'm like, okay, cool, let's take another one. We did some good ones though. We got some selfies on Rodeo Drive. Like you said, a selfie within a selfie. We have probably there's like 5 or 6 groups of people taking selfies behind us.
Yeah.
With very fancy clothing on in groups on that little street.
They were there to shop.
Oh, yeah.
As we were there to just make fun of shoppers, I think.
Sour grapes, it's like we can't afford it, so let's just make fun of it.
We did learn something about ourselves today, too, that we are capable of making fun of anyone, anywhere, all the time. We can make fun of rich people. We can make fun of hippies. And that's the only 2 kind of people we know, so.
Right, that's it.
Yeah, we can make fun of anyone, anywhere, anytime. Just bring it on.
That's the great thing about being a slightly insecure but very intelligent person is you can just constantly judge the world around you and weigh it and measure it.
Yeah.
And if anything makes you nervous, you can just slay it mentally.
Fun of it.
Yeah, make fun of it.
I know. It really has worked out so far for both of us.
I mean, not on a sense of like personal development, but just from a point of view of like just, I don't know, staying safe.
It's good for podcasting.
It's good. It's true. We've turned it into a power.
Yeah, just think if we had a podcast that we were being nice all the time, talking about nice things. No, who wants to listen to that? I don't want to listen to that.
And I wanted to bring this up before I forget.
Okay.
Because I was thinking there's a number of people that we know that listen to the podcast, and we're so deeply appreciative for that. But just so you know, because you're listening to us doesn't mean that we're actually talking to you. So we don't know that we're having that relationship with you. So if you call us, we can actually talk to you. Because I keep getting texts and messages from people as if like I've been talking to them, but I haven't been. So you might feel like you've been talking to me, but you haven't. So please call me or talk to me or text me because I would love to hear
text
from you.
me. I don't really want you to call me because that makes me a little nervous. But you can, text
That's like
me.
Old people.
And
old people call. Old people
if you're old, then you can go ahead and give us a call. If you're not old, then if you're old, you probably don't know how to use this podcast anyway. So
that's true.
What are we considering old? Because I think
I would say 60 or older. 60
or older.
No one should ever
call us.
If you're not 60 or older, that's
but like get text, have a conversation because it's true. Like I get the same thing. People feel like they're talking but I don't know what's going on with you. Tell me what's going on with you.
60 or older uses Facebook and they call it the Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody else should be on TikTok, Snapchat, or Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had a better idea. Instead of texting me, if you feel like you want to have a conversation with me, a reciprocal conversation. Start your own podcast.
A reciprocal.
So, so I can listen to it.
I love that. Yeah.
I'd rather just listen to all my friends do podcasts than actually have like a one-on-one conversation. So,
okay, who would be your top picks if you had someone make a podcast for you that you could listen to?
Ooh, my top picks of people?
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be really hard.
I
don't know.
Had one. We had our guest, Jen Bixler. So
Jen Bixler,
I would love to listen to her podcast.
I would love to listen to her podcast too. Yeah, I mean,
I would say Stacy and Renee. I would totally listen to Profs and Renee. I would absolutely listen to her.
Liz, who you don't know, who listens a lot and is like our top fan on our Facebook page. I would love to listen to her talk on a podcast. I think she'd be really good at it. You know? Yeah. I that's a thing. Like, seeing all of our friends in person, I just want to talk to people all the time.
Right.
But we're also far away.
Yeah.
I mean, look at. Not all of us can live in LA like Alina. I mean, we've all tried.
It's true.
Yeah. We
have all tried. Oh, and then Ben.
Ben? Yep. And Kirsten. They talk to each other.
They do. They have their own podcast. They're just not recording it.
Yeah, they should record a podcast as they're driving in their van. They should just have a microphone on all the time.
Yeah.
Hours of nothing's better than a podcast with like road noise in the back too. Just
Oh, and then Pippi, I want to invite her when we go. She's already signed up for when we go to the what was it? The one down south, the contest where you throw the fish.
Oh, right, the Floribama mullet toss.
Floribama, yeah,
Floribama,
Floribama. I would definitely. She has to come for that. She's going to be our podcasting.
I mean, I think that should be our goal for year 3 is like tour. I mean, I guess we got to wait till all this COVID stuff blows over.
My friend Kaja, I think she would make a good podcast. I would listen to her.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know her, but I'm sure she'd be great at it.
And Scott, who we had on for the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Oh, yeah.
He was very knowledgeable.
Yeah, we've had some good. We've had some good guests.
Yeah, great guests. Yeah, Pete. Yeah, it was really
Pete.
great. And Holly.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we're just listing off people at this point. Listing off people that you may or may not know, and if you don't know them, you should know them because they're great people.
It's true. I like these episodes, and we just talk about people we know. It really makes it relatable for.
It's like high school, or just like you're not in the group, or you're in the group.
No. Everything's still.
We don't want to spark any insecurities in people. But if you have insecurities, you can just make fun of people like us. You can make fun of us.
Yeah, just
like,
go out
great
in public,
episode, guys.
Walk around together and just make fun of people.
It's the best way to handle it. Oh, so
really
we have some questions on our game show.
We do. So I asked Ben and Kirsten and Jessica, my friend Jessica.
Oh, yeah, Jessica. I have to always discipline myself to say, wait. I always want to say some variation of Kristen's name. Kirsten. I did that thing that you do when you meet someone who has a variable name where you choose the wrong one once and then they correct you or someone corrects you and then you create like a little Y in your brain where you could go either way. And then their name lives like Schrodinger's cat in the box. Mm-hmm. And anytime you talk about them, it could be a variation of their name. Yeah. Which I'm familiar with because my name's Alina. So I get like
I'm
every
familiar
variant.
with fucking 2 because I get one variant. I hate you all. Don't call me Janet.
Janet.
Janet. It's always the people writing it down somewhere too is what, because they cannot spell it right. So they write down Janet and then the next person says Janet and it just...
That's why you just have your Starbucks name, Jen.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm going to say Alina every time I go to Starbucks now.
My Starbucks name is Illyria. Ow.
And how do you spell it? And just be like Jeanett. That's hilarious.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Okay, so you want me
We
to
were
read one
cackling
of
like
these?
this in Beverly Hills too. We were just like,
Yeah.
talking about Mendocino days. We're like,
Yeah, we were.
Oh
we
my
were
God.
very loudly. And it
Very
was,
loudly.
I mean, those people don't know us. Oh, let's talk about the woman who was sitting right next to us. Her tag was still on her dress.
Oh my God, that was the best.
Her tag was sticking out of her dress. I mean, it wasn't like the tag was flipped out. It was like the price tag was still on her
Right.
dress, still attached. And I was like, I really want to go tell that person that her tag is out. And Alina's like, you don't do that in LA.
Yeah, no one will
Yeah,
thank you
yeah,
for
it's
that.
like-
they'll be a bitch to you, and you'll be like, "Why did I
Yeah,
help someone?"
Alina taught me a valuable lesson about
Yeah,
trying to
don't
help
help
someone
people.
today.
Don't help
I did
people.
not. No, I just went the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could
Okay,
go so many different
no.
ways.
It could. I mean, she could have said thank you.
She could have, but it looked like she was on a date, and her
Yeah.
hair did kind of cover it, and I think she would have been pretty bummed, like, to have that pointed out.
I would have tried to do it subtly, but that's hard when you just like approach someone during a pandemic at a restaurant too.
I mean,
you
you
can't
have a way with people that puts them at ease. I don't know if I have that way, so I might have just made her nervous. So you might have a better way of being able to deal with it.
My way was how I was going to do it. I was going to throw a piece of monkey bread at her, and then when she turned around, I was going to be like, "Bitch, your tag's still on your dress.
You think you're fancy?
I think you're not fancy. I can eat here too. See, anyone can eat here at this restaurant. Take your tag off your dress. I don't even have the tag on my clothes."
Oh my God, it was so big too. It was like
really
3
big.
inches long.
Yeah.
And like sticking right out the back of her dress. I was
oh
like,
my God.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But luckily dudes don't notice anything. So it could be like that
and
guy
if that's the worst thing that you've had on you for the day, that's not bad.
That's not bad. No.
I've gone out in public with baby shit on my clothes, so
nice.
I didn't even notice. Yeah, this was just like a week ago.
Well, I've always
I don't even know whose baby it was.
Well, I went from, because I was, working, in education, and then I was working around all women, and then I moved to LA, got into VFX, and I was working around mostly men. Like there was definitely women, but mostly men. And I remember one day I wore to work, I had a pair of jeans, and you know how they'll put those tags that have your size on it and it will go down the side?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I pulled one off the front, one off the back. I didn't think there was a third one on there. Apparently there was a giant third one on the back of my pants. And I walked around all day with the size of my pants on. And I kid you not, at fucking 5 p.m., this really nice girl I worked with came up to me and she's like, "Hey, honey." She ripped it off and threw it in the trash.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I walked around all day. I went back to my desk. I talked to the 3 guys next to me. I'm like, "I just had a sticker on my pants all day." No one said anything. They were like, "What sticker?" I'm like, "You didn't notice that I had a sticker on my pants?" And they're like, "What are you talking about?" They were legit, never saw it. And the first girl I encountered that day just like ripped it off me. I was so thankful.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Oh, that's what I should have done. Just gone and ripped that tag off that lady.
Oh, that's a great idea. Then she couldn't return it, which is the whole point.
Oh, right. She was going to return it after her date. Jeez.
Oh,
that would have been bad. I should have just tucked it right back in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not good. She was trying to be posh. What she did was she went out, she bought something that was a little more expensive than she can afford. Mm-hmm. She tucked it in, it popped out.
Yep.
And now
we're going to talk about it for 45 minutes on our podcast.
Well, 17 minutes and 57 seconds.
We haven't been talking about it 17 minutes, have we? Do you want me to read you a question that we got submitted by our listeners? Yeah. I kind of don't want to read this first one from Jessica, but I feel like we should, because she sent it in. She took the time.
God bless
to respond to my text.
Thank you, Jessica.
Okay. Well, you'll thank her after you hear it.
No,
what direction do you wipe after having a BM? I think it's just one direction if you're a lady. Are there other directions? I go side to side.
I go north to south. Wherever I'm sitting, I'll turn that direction. And I'll make that happen, north to south. Yeah.
Okay.
I go by cardinal directions instead of.
I go clockwise.
Unless I'm in Australia, and then I go counterclockwise.
Exactly. Duh, Jessica.
Gross. We're ladies. We don't talk about BMs.
We're ladies.
Bowel
we
movements.
Do not.
My grandma used to call them BMs.
I think she's talking about Burning Man.
Oh, Burning Man. Which direction do you wipe at Burning Man?
After you go to Burning Man.
Ugh, the whole body. The whole thing.
And it's just a pile of wet wipes is what it is.
It's true.
And you got to take them all home after you're done wiping with them.
Everyone. Pick your glitter out of the playa.
Jeez. Yeah. Ooh, Alina drank a drink with glitter in it last night, too.
Oh, I did. We've had such a posh experience here.
We
were like superstars.
Really? Yeah, we are like superstars. Yeah. Like I said, autographs everywhere. Okay, so Ben asks, he had sent a lot of questions. Okay. And then Kirsten sent some questions.
Good. No more from Jessica.
Okay, no, that was the only one she sent.
Great.
Okay. What was your first birds and the bees talk? I don't remember at all. Do you?
I don't, but I do remember my brother coming back to me after he got the birds and the bees talk from my dad. And my dad does listen to the podcast, obviously, because he was on last time. So I'll just say that he was like, it was so weird and awkward. He kept listing off the names for different things. like just synonyms for sex. I don't want to embarrass him too much. I mean, I don't know how. What was your first talk with your kids? When did you do that?
Oh, well, because I don't remember my parents giving me a talk, but I remember my kids. And I was, we would only like answer what they asked because I figured like when they were ready for more information, they would ask.
Yeah.
So like they knew that men had like the seeds and women had the eggs.
Okay.
And the man gave the woman the seeds
I'm
for
hoping
her
this
eggs.
is when they're really younger, not like
14.
This
was just like last year. We had this talk.
And this is like the Forrest Gump talk.
It was like, so they were like, oh yeah, that tracks. Like we understand that.
Okay.
And then like it was probably, I don't know how long it was later, but they were like, but how does the man get the seed to the egg?
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, this is how it happens. Forklift puts it in his hand and he hands it to her. We just
turns into gold dust.
That penis goes right in the vagina. That's how it gets there. And just the look of horror on the face of like that was like, okay, with egg seed gets there somehow. But when it was like, no, this is like how it gets there. It was like, oh my God, that was the worst thing I've ever heard.
You get your whole world stripped away and then you learn that,
Yeah.
It's like the Easter Bunny, nah, Santa Claus, no. And by the way, that little meat stick between your legs goes straight into the hole. Good luck. Have fun.
Exactly. Yeah. Awful.
Barf.
It's not fun. And then like as they got older, since we were so like open and progressive, then they're asking us stuff that I'm like, dude, I don't want to answer that. No. Yeah. It's like, don't let your kids feel comfortable to ask you sexual questions. So ask you some weird ass shit,
Yeah, I learned all my sex stuff from those little stories you tell in like 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade about like the little boy and the ball rolled in and the snake goes into the hole. And there was like these little parable like stories that kids would tell each other, like little jokes. I don't remember them because it's been so long, but they, I got everything explained to me in that form. And then when my mom, I think, was trying to talk to me about stuff, it was, I was uncomfortable. So I'm sure she was uncomfortable. And I was more like, I'm fine.
Fine, I don't want to know.
Like Napoleon Dynamite, just like, fine, God, what are you doing? Why are you even talking to me about this? She's like, okay.
We had this really good book. It was like from the 70s. And there's these two little fat people on it, and they're like, when a man and woman love each other very much, they get so excited, and then they like cuddle, and it feels like you have a big sneeze. Just like love that as like an orgasm described as like it was a really good sneeze.
Oh, yeah. Because that's
Really
something that anybody can relate to.
sneeze.
It's a great sneeze.
Like, oh man, it feels so good when I sneeze. It's the same thing.
I feel like the whole orgasm part was kind of left out, but the mechanical parts were all left in. So
yeah, my friend, well, not Laura Rewerts, Laura Hamburg. I'll just say her full name. She was saying, like, she was telling me a story that she's like, yeah, I remember asking my dad what an orgasm was, and he just said, "You'll know when you have one."
Good answer, actually.
Yeah, that's a perfect answer. Like, that's all.
I don't want to go through this with you. I really don't. And you'll figure it out. There's no way you're going to miss it.
Nope, you won't miss it.
You won't miss it. Okay, next question.
Okay, flight or invisibility?
Oh, 100% flight. 100%. I wouldn't even think for a second. Why? You have to be a total creep to pick invisibility.
Oh, great, because I'm picking invisibility because I don't want to be up in the air. I'm afraid of heights. I don't want to fly with like nothing around me. I'm going to fall. You know what? I'm just going to be invisible when someone needs something from me. I'm not going to like, someone's like, Ned, I need you to come clean up this cat shit that's on the ground. Invisibility. It's not going to, I'm not going to creep around. I'm just going to avoid doing stuff.
You're going to go into bathrooms and look at people. That's all you're going to do.
No,
you're
I'm
going to hear
not.
conversations.
I'm just going to go in my room and I'm going to take a nap and no one's going to know where I am to ask me to do anything.
Okay.
I'm not going to creep around, but I'm not going to be way up high.
Who would you creep around on?
Ridiculous.
If you're going to go invisible,
you, I would be in your house all the time. I'd be sitting right next to you on the couch.
Okay, I tell you, I go naked in the house, so you're just going to have to deal with that.
I know. Okay. I've seen it. I'm invisible. We're from Mendo. It's not like I haven't seen you naked before, Alina. Give me a break.
I know. I've seen all my friends naked.
Seen all my friends naked too. Okay, that was the next question. Have you seen all your friends naked? No, that's not.
No, I have more that I want to go with this.
Okay.
So flying seems just so fucking cool, right? So, but what's the benefit of being invisible?
People don't know you're there.
Okay. But what can you do that's not a creepy thing? You still haven't answered that question, other than try to avoid people that are trying to get you to do stuff.
I'm very tired. I don't know what is the problem about this.
Okay.
I don't.
Have you seen Hollow Man?
No.
Okay. You know how there's these movies that are around and you either saw them or didn't? But they were like a big deal in the 80s, 90s, or 2000s, right? There's those movies. And then you just never hear about them. Then you go back to watch them and you're like, oh, that's why, right?
Yeah.
They're totally racist, or they're like, just me too, help me. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that was one of them.
Okay.
If you haven't seen Hollow Man lately,
it's got our man Kevin Bacon in it, right?
It is so creeper. He spends the entire time once he gets naked, trying to rape a woman. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what I'm going to do if I'm invisible. I'm really just going to go like sit somewhere and have a cocktail. No one is going to ask me any questions.
So you're not going to try to rape people?
I mean, to ask me what people. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to try to rape people when I'm invisible. I'm not.
With someone, this is going off on a slight tangent, but we recently watched Saturday Night Fever, and I was like, how did I miss how completely rapey this movie is? They are sitting there, 4 guys in a car. I think 4 guys, yeah. And this guy is like raping a woman in the back and she's saying no. And they're driving and just keeps raping her. And I'm like, no one mentions it. No one has an issue with it. It's just part of the movie. And everybody goes on.
It was normalized in movies in the 80s. It's normalized to the point that you don't even notice it. I was listening to How Did This Get Made podcast the other day, and they were talking about like this kids movie. And like one of the kids is like 10 years old, and he's a boy, and he's talking about boobs and Playboy and all the stuff all the time. And that was another thing that happened in the 80s too. Like all like the little boys were really hypersexual too.
Yeah.
like adult sexual. And that was just like so normal in those movies that you don't even notice it. That you didn't notice it then, and now like you watch that shit and it's like, oh my God, it's
well, the
awful.
same person I was talking to, they have a 9-year-old kid and then a younger girl, and she was like, I have these fond memories of watching Weird Science, and then she's like, but I thought about showing it to my kids, but then I had this thought, like, wait, did they just create a woman to have sex with her, and that was the only purpose? And then I'm like, no, that couldn't have been like the whole premise of the movie. So she like shows it to her kids and she's like, oh shit, like it's actually just about them creating a woman to have sex with.
Yeah. Well, I tried to watch that. I think I might have mentioned it one time on the podcast, but I like not too long ago, I was like, I want to check that one out again. I put it on and the racism got me before the robot was even made. It was so racist. And I was like, dude, I can't even. Like Anthony Michael Hall must be so embarrassed this is out in the world. Like it was
totally
so bad.
Anthony Michael Hall keeps trying to do that in all the movies. He does his little like, like I'm a black guy talking, I'm like, ugh,
so
cringy.
bad.
Oh, what's
so
even
bad.
worse is I was watching, because I mean the pandemic happened, so I watched all the movies and then I ran out and then I had to go dig deeper. So I was watching Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. And I'm like, I got most of the way through the movie, I'm like, why the fuck did this get buried? This is great. This movie's really funny. It's got a cool premise. It's pretty decent. And then Dan Aykroyd comes out with like full blackface and a Rasta cap, and I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
that's
just
what we
like,
grew up with. I was just like, okay,
just
this
casual.
is just
And not just blackface, but like the darkest blackface. Like it was just so abominable. I was like, how did this get even made? Like
yeah.
And people are
that's
just cool
what,
with it.
I mean 16 Candles is one of my favorite movies growing up. And like it really had to, I mean, obviously the racism, I got it. Like as an adult, like seeing that, I'm like, oh shit. But I heard someone say it the other day, like basically that girl is raped and she's like, well, how was I? I was passed out. You had sex with me when I was passed out, but was I good?
What?
Like
I don't remember
that's what
that.
she says, like in the car with Anthony Michael Hall when Jake Ryan, oh my God, Jake Ryan, are you kidding? Like total crush there. Jake Ryan, when he sends her off with Anthony Michael Hall in the car, drive her home, she's blitzed, but you can basically have sex with her if you want.
Oh my God. I didn't even see. That's the thing. Like I
didn't
over
even
that.
Notice it, and I've seen it like a million times. I've seen that movie.
I'm looking it up, and I see here like rape culture of the 1980s explained by 16 Candles.
I don't want to read that.
The beloved romantic comedy's date rape scene provides important context for Brett Kavanaugh's accusations.
God damn it, Ben! Why did you have to send us a rape question to answer?
Oh, that was the other thing, because you were saying
this is just about flight or invisibility.
We should talk about you being roofied now too. That would be perfect.
Oh God.
No, we don't have to. Okay.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking. We were thinking of topics for today. We thought we could talk about times that we were roofied, or we could do our 9/11 stories because it's 9/11 today.
Well, that led me to the idea that we could come up with things that will immediately abruptly stop conversations with people.
Yeah. Yeah, those would be the two things.
Talking about being roofied, I think, is definitely one where people will just kind of peel off pretty quickly, You're like talking about 9/11, I think it definitely could put a little bit of a downer tint on whatever you were doing. I mean, it could be meaningful, but it also could be like, oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
I forgot that. That was conversation stoppers we were talking about.
Yeah. Conversation stoppers. I would love to hear other people's conversation stoppers. Do you have any more?
No, I can't think of any more, but I'd like to have them so I can stop conversations.
I feel like I naturally just intuitively know how to stop conversations. Make people uncomfortable and just walk off. Yeah. It's a gift. It's a gift.
Yeah. It is a gift. I mean,
It's kind of like curdling. Like, when you put lemon juice and cream and it just like turns into lumps. It's like you have a nice smooth conversation going on and you're just like, hey, how about those roofies? Remember the time you were roofied? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. Yep. Remember that? Oh. People love to talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about that, but
yeah.
you have good stories.
See, like we're both like,
Okay.
Why were
Another
we
question
even
from
talking
Ben.
before?
Are you ready?
Okay.
Do you think women generally love relationships and men love things?
Whoa, dude.
I mean, I fucking hate relationships and I love things. So I don't know, Ben. I don't know.
Digger.
Yeah. Ben, I think the question is, why do you love things?
I want to be fair to this one. I do feel like a huge amount of the female brain does just process relationships, connections, ways people communicate. I feel like most women can't deny that. How could you possibly? Every time women get together, we talk about relationships.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, you got to think, like, what kind of relationship are you talking about? Like a relationship in a broader sense of like relationships, romantic and platonic? Or are we just talking about romantic relationships? Because it's true. Like my relationships with my friends and my family are utmost importance to me. Like the most important thing to me.
Okay, well, I feel like I can bring a little bit of just super expert knowledge to this.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's what I've hired you for right now. Go ahead.
In my grandiose narcissistic way, I'll just take this one over.
Conversation stopper.
Stopper. Conversation stopped. So, like I said, I had worked before with like mostly women, and then I switched to working with mostly men, right? So, but I'd also had experiences when I was younger working like in, more mixed environment, like doing customer service. And then one time I worked in a bike store, which was all guys. And I was admittedly totally unqualified to be working on that. I don't know how I talked my way into that bike store. I did not know what I was doing. I learned, but I definitely was like the least qualified of all the guys. So these guys would sit around and I'm sitting here like, this should be interesting, right? It should be interesting to see what guys talk about when, I'm the only woman around. So, after a while, they just kind of ignore you.
Yeah.
And I realized they can literally talk about components for hours, not just hours, but like a whole 8 hours.
Oh, wow.
And I'm talking about like, they're like, well, this cork thing, if you took that, no, you don't want the cork in the handlebars. What you're going to want is to get a sensor, and then you're going to put that there, and you're going to want to put that there. Yeah, I agree with you on that, but I got this other one. And then, and then like while they're doing it, I feel like they're trying to come up with like where everybody fits, in the relationship. So you get the person that's just like the most opinionated, right? That's got like all the right answers. And then the person that's willing to challenge them. And then you get the like betas who are just like, I don't know. I think he's right. Well, it could be right. Oh, I see your point. And it's just like, they're all settling into this just endless hours of conversation about shit. So that's not totally conclusive. But then I go into VFX and I have, guy friends and I'm working around guys and they're just talking about like digital formats or like drones or like components on drones. I think mostly components of things. Anything that's a component will be talked about in general. It's not like the same guys could completely switch it. Like I remember, I was in a smaller room with like two guys and they could sit and talk about relationships, but they wouldn't talk about them by themselves. With each other. Yeah. But they might talk about them with me, like, oh, I'm dating this girl and I'm just wondering, I was just curious about this. And, we'd talk about it. But yeah. I have about maybe 25 minutes worth of conversation about a component. And then I'm done for the day. But if you want to talk to me about your girlfriend and why it's not working, I'm going to fucking help you. I'm going to problem solve that shit. I may not be qualified to do it, but I will pretend I am.
Yeah, I think it's just like what we're raised being comfortable with too, right? I
Right.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the most like balanced guys can talk about any of that. But I think generally
It's
when
true.
guys get together, they're just
But women are always encouraged, I think, to talk about their feelings more, and that's like has to do with relationships. I can't talk a lot about my feelings about like components because I don't really have a lot of big feelings about it.
I do have one thing that I have heard enough times to where I'm suspicious that it might be the truth, which is I think men fart a lot more when we're not around. Like a
really
lot
more than they already do when we're around.
Oh God, there's so much farting involved in
Jesus
that.
Christ, I've got two teenage boys, or a teenage anymore, but two boys. It's just like constant
farting
all the time.
Yeah,
and everyone knows that ladies do not fart.
They obviously don't.
Obviously don't. Nope.
Yeah,
that was the other question Ben had. Do ladies fart?
Yeah,
no, that wasn't his question. Are we ready for the next one?
Hey, do ladies fart was a conversation killer.
Yep.
It killed it immediately.
Yeah. Should we do? Okay, Kirsten has two questions. Do you want me to switch to one of hers and then back to Ben's? Okay.
Please, no more of Ben's.
Okay.
And Jessica's out.
There's a lot more of Ben's. They're good. He's got some good ones. Okay. Cool. But we'll do one of hers. Why do Californians ruin other states? I have an answer for this because I had time to think about it.
Completely.
Because they've already ruined California.
Okay.
So
enough said.
It's a natural progression. Okay.
We're the best. We're the best, and
California's done. Move on to other states, and when those states are done, then we'll move out of the country. End of story.
We don't have to pay the copyright on that if you sing it.
Don't really? I don't know what song you're singing.
Party. I'm always like slightly off tune when I'm like,
yeah, and you're making up lyrics to it too. California, it's all ruined.
Wow, that was so much better than what I did.
That was a conversation starter too. Stopper too.
We got like 5 now.
Okay. So here's her next one. What should the next Olympic sport be? It says wrong answers only, but I don't think she can dictate what kind of answers we give to this. So
okay. I think is dodgeball already in the Olympics or not?
I don't think it is.
Okay, I think dodgeball should definitely be in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Competitive chili eating.
Oh. Yeah, competitive eating is always good. I really think I would like to see something that I find really challenging, like packing a car to go camping. I'm really, really bad at that.
Okay, Dad, if you're listening, you would be an Olympian.
That's really hard for me. I would have to train for a long time to do that.
Oh no, my family specializes in this. We come from a long line of hoarders. Mm-hmm. And it allows us to be able to pack things in creative and exciting ways because that makes you feel like less of a hoarder. So you can just
okay. Yeah. I have real bad spatial problems. Like I can't see how things would fit in. Like it just is not part of my brain, how my brain works. It's just I got all these things and sure they can all fit. And then it's like, there's no possible way they could fit. Or like, I would just spend all day trying to like pack shit up. I leave it to somebody else.
It's a good one. I never go anywhere on my genuinely, own. I love your answer. I'm going to say like filling up the ultimate Pinterest board. Just like, just like really cohesive. A lot of people want to follow it. It could be your perfect vacation.
Your
wedding dress. It could be headscarves. Maybe you're really into headscarves. I don't know.
We saw some headscarves at the Dior store today.
Okay.
Remember?
We did.
Headscarves. Yeah.
We didn't ask really about them because they're going to be like $1,400 for a shitty scarf.
We didn't want them. We didn't want anything really. We just wanted to walk around
sour grapes.
People. Yeah,
dumb
sour
scarf.
Grapes.
Never want it.
Okay, you ready for the next one?
I don't know.
Are you not?
These are really challenging me. They're getting very emotional.
They're getting, well, this one would be really emotional. I don't really think I have an answer for this. What's the worst date you ever had?
Oh, God.
I mean, I would say all of them. All of them were in a tie for first place.
Oh,
I don't know. I mean, I haven't had anything like seriously stand out as like crazy bad or just like an insane story.
I had one where, I mean, there's so many bad ones, but I'm trying to think of one that's like entertainingly bad. I'd say this one just stuck out. It was in LA and it was off of a dating app, and I saw the guy, and he was like at least a foot shorter than he claimed to be. He had all his pictures. I don't know how his pictures look like Entourage, but when I saw him, he was just a little man. And I was like, how on earth did you harvest those pictures from what I see here? And I'm not one to be like too critical about that, because I'm like, you know, it's always like makes you nervous when you're doing internet dating. But I would always err on the side of putting like photos that were a little not quite as good. And I got that feedback from a few guys where they're like, what? You know, you should put better photos up. You look better than that. But I saw this guy and he went the opposite direction, trying to like put like the best photos of himself. He spent the whole time, I mean, you know me and food. Like, I love to fucking find the most gourmet food. You do too. You know, it's just I get really into it. And we were living in wine country for so long. I mean, you just throw a stone and someone owns a winery, right? So this guy just starts lecturing me on wine and telling me all about wine and all this stuff. And he won't let me drink my red wine until it's properly aerated. So he takes it and starts swirling it. And like tells me about aeration and how like it, you know, it releases all this stuff. And he's just like a total expert on every fucking thing. Yeah. It was just,
this is mansplaining in general is.
Yeah. But I think the whole experience was ultimately just unpleasant. Yeah.
I think those OkCupid dates are just setting up for unpleasant.
There was one other one that comes to mind.
Oh, good. Okay.
I met the guy. I talked to him. We got along okay. And he was a little older, and like, but he had started to try to be an actor a few years ago. And when we went on 2 dates, because the first date went okay, but in between the 2 dates, he had mentioned that he was told by, I think, his agent that he should start, you know, a social media page or do a blog or something like that. So he had said he did something on YouTube. So I looked up his name and YouTube. And I saw a series of like 10 so sad videos of him just like in an office chair talking and like trying to riff and monologue. And it was like poorly lit and just kind of like, okay. And they had like 2 views, 5 views. And it made me so sad inside that I couldn't like have another date with him. It's just like, I don't know, it just hit like a chord where it was like, oh God, you know, like anybody who can make jokes like that and just feel comfortable just being viewed only by 5 people. I mean, God, I couldn't.
Oh, you should pull it up now and see how many hits he's got.
I don't even remember his name.
I know. Yeah. Obviously, the acting career didn't take off either.
No,
poor guy.
Yeah. Gosh. Well, whatever. That's LA.
Yeah. Oh, well, speaking of LA, what are the unwritten rules of LA people?
Oh. Well.
Now, they can't be written down.
Okay.
You know, the other question is, what are the unwritten rules of Portland people? So,
okay.
I
feel like you could tell me better, because I feel like I did like 10 or 12 of these while we were out, you know, but now that I'm confronted with the question, I can't think of any. But haven't I been like, in LA, we don't do that. In LA,
well, we talked about one, you don't tell a woman her tag is out.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Like, one of the things in Portland is you don't use an umbrella, which I've talked about before. That's important.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I was shocked today, honestly, like that it was perfectly acceptable for that big muscly guy to just stand on the corner without his shirt on, just flexing. So maybe that's one of the unwritten rules. What is happening right now? This guy's just standing on a corner with his shirt off. Like,
well, I think I
all
could extrapolate
musty.
something from that, which is like
Okay.
one of the unwritten rules in LA is it's okay to stop and pose at any point in whatever you're doing and record yourself and fully ignore everyone around you with no self-consciousness whatsoever.
Yeah, that's a great rule, though.
I think
you are the most important person.
I think
At
another
any
one
moment.
is that lines are great. And
Okay.
if there isn't a line, it's not worth doing it. It could be a line to anything. It could be a line to a bathroom. People line up for it. If there's a line,
just stand in it. It's going to be
you're
good.
interested.
It's going to be good.
That coffee shop that used to have the best latte, it doesn't anymore if there's no line. It stopped being good. Yeah.
I really like that. I really like that. Oh, and by the way, I'm really liking LA when I'm here. I mean, I bash on it a lot, but it's really nice. It's hot, which I'm not a fan of, but it's really sunny.
Right today.
And it was really dark when I left yesterday, when I left Portland. So it's not that, I know you're saying it's not that hot, but it's like 90 and it was like 65 when I left Portland. So,
we've had a good experience here. I mean, I think you brought out the best in people because we had like that super nice waitress.
People were nice.
We had super nice person getting the latte that gave us free chocolate.
And and then one lady gave us another free mimosa at breakfast.
Oh yeah, she gave us free mimosas too.
Yeah. It's I think that's how people in Portland are all the time, and they're just really nice. So everyone has been nice to me here too, and I told you that's because I'm from Portland, and they could tell. They're like, "Oh, we have to be nice to you." If it was just you, they'd be like,
"No,
you live in LA. We can be bitchy to you." But they're trying to recruit people back down to this area.
Yeah, because they need them because we just don't have enough people here.
Okay, I've got two more. There's three more, but I'm only going to ask you two more.
Okay.
Okay. What was
Thank you for the questions.
Ben and Kirsten and I guess Jessica. These are really good. Just giving us something to talk about.
They really are.
Yeah.
Thank you. You made the podcast.
Yeah, you did.
You did
it. What is something you just recently realized that you are embarrassed you didn't realize earlier?
Oh God, there's so many things. It's just I feel like
the last 15 years of my life.
Yeah. There's sometimes you just turn a corner and you look back and you realize like how dumb you were for like huge portions of your life, and you're like, I just didn't know. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Specific examples? Those would be cool. Can't think of any.
I can't think of any either. I mean, I'm more like embarrassed about like maybe something I said that was, and I can't think of anything specifically, but if I said something that hurt someone's feelings and I didn't mean to, like that will embarrass me and make me feel shame. Like not much else will. I'll do stupid things that maybe would be embarrassing to other people that maybe wouldn't embarrass me. I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
no, it totally does. Yeah. And I think I'm on the same page with that. Like, I wish I had a witty example because I feel like if I had more time to prepare, I would. But I would say definitely those things that are just interpersonal stuff where you come out the gates like really feisty and like swinging, and then as you get a little older you mellow and you're like, oh shit. I did that for like a lot of years, and now I realize that had an impact and it kind of sucked, and it was probably why this happened or whatever. But it's also like part of what makes you fun or feisty or whatever. It's like part of your fire, but at the same time it is nice when you get those moments where you're like, God, I really thought I knew everything and I totally didn't. Oh, they were just being quiet because they were being polite. Like they had manners and I just didn't have those manners. Yeah. Not because they were boring or whatever. They just like actually
they're just a decent human being with self-respect. Boring.
Hello. Oh my God. I know. So many moments where you notice those things and you're just like, ugh, God.
Oops. Oh God. What is one thing people often misunderstand about you?
Oh.
That I'm better than them.
Right, that you're actually better
that
than
I'm
them.
actually better than them.
I can see that.
No, that's not a good answer. That's mean.
I think for me, I think I spend a lot. Okay, this is going to get really serious and it's not very funny.
Okay.
I don't know. Should we do those? Or just skip it?
You know.
Okay.
It's up to you. I
spend a lot of time, I don't want to say praying for people, but trying to send love and blessings out. I know that sounds silly, but I actually try, like if I wake up at 4 a.m. and I can't sleep, I just think of like people and I try to send blessings out to them. And I think because I have this like sarcastic sense of humor, a lot of people don't know that I spend an absurd amount of time just like wishing well for people.
Yeah. I love that.
I wish many people well.
About you. I love that about you. And one of the things I do love about you too, like you've got these good little hippie nuggets that normally would annoy the fuck out of me, but some of them have meant so much to me.
Aww.
Like that I think about often, like the way you would word it. You know, that if someone else, like you told me one time to just like, I couldn't get to like a place of positivity because things were bad. And you're like, just take yourself on a, just get to neutral, just float on a frothy wave of neutrality. And I was like, I hear that in my head all the time. Aww. It's like, perfect. So you putting those intentions out there, like that makes a lot of sense to me too.
Well, I feel like I've just got such a raw sense of humor sometimes that most people probably don't know because of my insane sarcasm that I really am such a hippie inside. Like I try never to sit and think about people in a negative way for prolonged periods of time. I try to always give them love, give them blessings. But since I don't get street cred for that ever, I do feel like it's hard won, you know?
Yeah.
It's hard won.
Yep.
Yeah. I would say for you that even though you're always trying to like pull pranks on people, mess with them, joke around with them, you're really one of the nicest people. Just so nice. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Don't say that out loud.
I know. I don't want to mess with your but you're just incredibly nice. Like so thoughtful all the time. We planned this out before we were talking about how great we are.
Yeah.
What you don't know about me is how amazing I am. And I'm really humble. I don't want to talk about myself, but I just want to let you know that I'm incredible.
Exactly. I really love people. I really do. Like, I love the people that I love, like a lot.
Yeah.
But I think the people I love know that too. So maybe that's not misunderstood.
I think that would go back to that moment where you like look back in retrospect. And I would say for most of my life, I was not very people oriented. I was kind of like a little negative toward people in society, just thinking like people are the problem. Like I love animals and nature and all that. And I'm like but I think what turned a corner for me, and actually LA did this a lot for some reason, but I think it's also because I had so many meaningful relationships up north. And then moving down here, it was just a lot harder to connect with people. Mm-hmm. I realized like I actually am a people person and I really do like people and I do like making sure that people feel good. But I didn't realize that about myself at all. I just thought I was more misanthropic and could care less. But it's just, I feel like those relationships have really sustained me. Having meaningful, strong bonds with people has made a huge difference, you know?
Yeah. I think that is the most important thing too.
Yeah. We should put like a little warning that it gets really serious after about minute 40. It's just like us talking about how great we are to each other. And then getting like
we don't get to talk about how great we are to each other in person every day. We have to like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know who's even better than us? Our listeners.
Our listeners. Only if they rate and review.
Who rate and review are the best of the best. Speaking of that, if you're on Audible, could you do us a solid and go on there just for a minute and put whatever ridiculous review you want, just put 5 stars because we're you love it.
Because
if
of
you're
course,
listening.
I mean, duh.
But if
God,
you're on
yeah.
Audible, please do that for us. We'd love you. And if you need any kind of physical reward for that of some kind, just text Jeanette.
Yeah, and
Her
when I get
number
my
is-
invisibility, I'll be right there to give you a physical reward, whether you want it or not.
On her and needing things from her.
Oh,
So
you
let's
just got
add-
your physical reward. You didn't even see it, did you?
We sent it to you already.
It's already happened. Yeah.
It's that Amazon box in your apartment lobby. It doesn't have your apartment number on it or your house number. It's the one on your neighbor's door. We sent it accidentally to their home.
Can I just tell them before we go the story about this box in your house? Like, no, it was an accident. It's just so funny.
It's not very flattering.
Yeah, only flattering things on this podcast.
Oh God, no, don't.
No, I won't. I won't. I won't. We're only going to talk about 9/11 and the times I've been roofied.
And the box, and your Amazon box in the house.
Yeah.
And that's having a vivid discussion as to whether we should steal the thing inside if it's not our right address.
See, why did you say that? I was going to talk about how you thought it was either filled with drugs or money.
Shit. Let's just leave it at that because it's already provocative enough.
It is. Yep. And if you want to know more, you'll have to listen to the next episode.
Well, or if you review and rate us on Audible, we'll tell you the story only.
That's good. Yeah, I'll whisper it in your ear when I'm in your house.
Okay, last questions. If you're with us this far, you're truly
Yeah, well, I mean, there's one more question, but I don't know that we need to do it.
What?
I think we're... Okay. Have you ever fallen for a scam? And I already have an answer because I read this already. Yeah, I got married.
Oh, wow. You're going there. You're going there.
I mean, we've all fallen for scams, haven't we? I mean, not like a real scam, not like I'm calling to give you about your car warranty. Although I did get a phone call the other day that the message was so realistic about my student loans that I had to do an internet search to see if it was a scam or not before I called back because it sounded so real. But it was a scam and I didn't call back.
I feel like, when I bought the timeshare in Cabo, with pool access, and you get to use it 2 days a year.
Yeah.
And it only costs $18,000, which if you add up all the vacations you take in life,
that is really true.
And then you add inflation, then you're only paying 60 or 70 times more than you would pay for your average vacation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I think those water filters, the really expensive ones that cost $18,000 or $5,000 that alkalize your water. That's
yeah.
I don't think that was a scam. I'm pretty sure.
Do you remember when all those women in Mendocino County were doing that goddess gift scam?
Oh,
do you remember that?
Yeah, it was a total pyramid scheme.
Yep. Yeah.
Do you
I didn't do that. But I got offered. I got offered and
who didn't get offered because it's a pyramid scheme.
Aggressively then offered someone could give you the money to buy into this too. There's a documentary about that particular one. Yeah. Okay. Because there was some murder thing that happened around it, but
how did that get related
not
to murder?
in Mendo, but somewhere else. But I remember that going around, and they're like, "Oh, you get your seed money for this and that," and that was fucking weird.
I mean, I can say that I'm sure that I have at some point, but I was also raised to be extremely wary of scams. I was given the Bible of if anything's a pyramid scheme, leave it alone. If anything's a timeshare, leave it alone.
Yeah.
If anything relates to Scientology or Mormonism, sorry, but leave it alone. That kind of stuff. If it's a cult, if there's a weird old guy that wants you to have sex with him on a regular basis and teach you a new religion, no. Just say no.
Just don't. I feel though that when I saw my mom getting sicker after her stroke and having more dementia symptoms, I realized how easy it is for people to get scammed. Right? Like she would answer the phone and be talking to people for a long time. And I'm like, who are you talking to? And she's like, oh, I'm not really sure. And I take the phone and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, stop talking to her, like to the point I had to just take away the phone because you just get all these calls all the time. And like things would come in the mail that were just total scams.
Yeah.
And I could see people who are like slightly diminished in like their capacities could very easily get scammed because it's relentless. And sometimes
your warranty is running out, just so you know. And if you don't act quickly,
your social security number's been compromised. Like, I think if you're like really paying attention and you're able to do that, then you wouldn't. But I saw it so much more clearly after.
I have a method where if something seems like exciting to me, I'm like, oh, that could, and then I'm like, no, it's probably not. I'll Google it and then put the word scam behind it. And almost every time something's come up, I know I got a call from the IRS when those first started coming out, and it happened to be within 3 days of me actually turning in my taxes to the IRS. So it was a little bit, it was like the beginning of those where you get that IRS call, like, if you're not, we've found that there's an issue with your stuff. And I'm like, oh shit, I just submitted it. Like, how did this happen? So I Googled it with scam behind it. But I actually, this reminded me, I totally fell for a scam recently.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So here's my scam. So as time goes on, buying gifts for your relatives, especially your male relatives, becomes harder and harder because it's like I know every female vice, but men they either have a vice or they don't. And it's just really obvious. Like, you're into fishing or smoking or driving or something. Mm-hmm. But after a while, if you just have like my brother's a pretty balanced person, so he likes to cook a lot, but he gets everything for himself that he needs. And he's doing pretty well. So I'm like, what the fuck could I possibly get for him? So I just think and think and think. So usually I end up doing something stupid, right? Like a dumb gift or a fun gift or whatever. I'm like, this will be hilarious. And he's like, great, thanks. So I was on Facebook. His birthday was coming up, and I saw this ad for like what we were talking about earlier, which is the Amazon auction thing. Like, you get a box of, recalled Amazon stuff, right? So I'm like, that would be funny, right? Give him like a giant box of like rando Amazon stuff. So I'm like, ha ha ha, very funny. I sign up and send it to him. And then time passes. He never mentions anything. So I'm like, dude, did you get anything? And he's like, what? And I was like, the gift I sent you. And he's like, no. You said to look for a big box, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, okay. So I go on to PayPal and I'm like, hey dudes, like, he never got this. And PayPal gets back to me and it's like, here's the tracking information. So this is how dodgy this thing was. I send it off to PayPal. I get no information back, no invoice, no tracking number, nothing. I just get a PayPal receipt. That's it. So I was already like worried.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, they just ate my money and left. I get the tracking number. I call him and I'm like, they said it arrived. And he's like, well, I did get one thing. Now, this is supposed to be a giant box of like Amazon shit, right?
Okay.
And we've all heard about these Amazon auctions, right? You said that you had a neighbor that would go get the stuff, online. And I had been to a site before that was a totally different site, and they actually have the auction, and, people like bid on the things, and, you just get like a grab bag of crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I knew it was a thing. So he's like, I did get this. And he sends me pictures, and it's a fucking tiny little package with like a selfie stick in it. And like a pen.
Yeah.
About like $3